All right, now we have audio. Okay,
Wonderful.
welcome to the tape. Now, do you want to start by telling us a little bit about who you are?
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name's Yousef Taouk. I'm one half of the techno band Bcharre. Uh, we are a soundscape and electronic duo, and you're here today in our studio.
All right, so what's the goss? What's going on?
Ah, so much, I think. Just writing and recording and playing shows and touring and all the normal stuff that bands do. Uh, Trying to stay afloat, trying to make money, but doing it because we love to do it and not because of money. So I
Not
guess
because
that's
of
it.
money.
Yeah, because we don't make much.
Why do you do it then?
For the love of making art, we're artists. So, and to tell stories, we're both storytellers. So trying to tell stories in a way without words, but more with movement and sound and lack of sound, etc.
So now, I know a little bit about, your background and some of the inspiration for your music and the art that you make. Um, and from what I know, it is incredibly interesting. And maybe you can tell us a bit about because your heritage and your family comes into your music a little bit, right?
Definitely, yeah. I'm a Lebanese, Middle Eastern artist, uh, and I guess develop a lot of my sounds with the idea of family and culture and uh, Middle Eastern uh, instruments and trying to work it into something that's modern and with no disrespect to folk, Middle Eastern folk music, but bring it into, I guess, the future and take sounds of what I remember growing up in dad's car driving to Sydney on holidays. I remember dad would put on a tape and I'd be like, oh, I love this. This is, beautiful folk Middle Eastern music. And it's stuck with me for so long. And now I can't help but take parts of those folk sounds and folk music and put it into something uh, that I love a lot: rhythm, drums, electronic music, and yeah,
That's so beautiful that you're able to take this musical history from your family's place of birth, like where,
mm.
where your family has come from. Can you maybe musically explain how you bring that into? So, what would you say? What's your genre now?
Oh, it's so hard to even to put it under one thing. I would just say electronic music,
Mhm.
but with an emphasis on storytelling and uh, Middle Eastern folk music.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, I guess the way that, I mean, a magician never reveals his secrets, but the way that we do it is we find instruments that are Middle Eastern, ouds, mizwij, all these instruments that come from that part of the world, and we try and sample as much as we can and chop and create something that is almost traditional and almost, hails back to, millennia, thousands of years, all these wind and string instruments, and bring it into something that
Yeah.
doesn't sound like wind and string instruments. It sounds almost robotic, but has that feeling and has evokes that idea of, hey, oh yeah, I can see the story you're trying to tell. Yeah,
So
we
yeah,
we try anyway, I guess.
yeah. So what is the main instruments from that part of the world?
There's so many, and I think with all instruments, it all started with drums, and everything started with percussion. And so I use a lot of uh, drum sounds that are traditionally Middle Eastern, like the doumbek, and we try and, again, like I said, break it up or break it down or change or morph or transpose certain parts of those instruments and put it into the songs that we make. But yeah, drums are, I think, for us, the core idea behind
Mm.
Bcharre is take something that's so ancient and something that's so uh, intrinsically human, rhythm, drums, and try and bring it into the future and bring it into storytelling, because this is how we started telling stories when we were cave people, banging on animal skin and telling people, don't come here, or come here, or come be a part of our village, or stay away. So for us, it's always been about percussion, drums, and movement and rhythm, but also string instruments like the oud, or the mizwij, which is like a wind instrument that I think has like a reed, two reeds that you blow together, and you have to circular breathe, and which is super hard to play, but we've sampled a lot of that sort of stuff as well. So, yeah.
I would also like to know a little bit about the poetry that
Yeah.
comes through your work and the story behind that.
Yeah. For again, talking about my dad, for a very long time, my dad has been this wonderful poet and writer and lover of art as well. For a man that came from a military background, it's so sweet to see a softer side to somebody who's been so hard his whole life. And it's inspired me a lot to write poetry and put it into music. In a sense, we do a thing that's we do this thing that, even though our songs are most of the time lyricless, we always try and have a poem that goes along with the song. So if we release something, there needs to be something visually somebody can see, as well as something that's they orally can hear as well. So we'll try and always have a poem that goes alongside either a release or a single. And Dad does a lot of the writing, but so do I. So yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if your music has no lyrics, but you have a written or a spoken piece, like does anyone get to see it, or is it just for you in the background? No one actually gets to.
People sometimes see it when we do a release. It'll be in footnotes, or when we post, we'll usually put a poem as the post as well. But yeah, sometimes, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's there just for me, or just for us, or just for my family, and yeah.
So am I right to say, like, well, maybe you tell me where is the name of, like, where is Bcharre from, and if that has weight to it, why bring that into like a dance music space?
Bcharre is from the north of Lebanon, famously in the cedars of Lebanon. If you haven't heard of that, look it up. But yeah, Bcharre is in the north of Lebanon. And what was the question?
This, because it's a town, right?
Yes.
Bcharre.
Why bring it in?
Yeah, like, that's, I mean, I guess that question goes across, these traditional instruments, your family, why present that in like a club space?
I think celebration is important. And I think being able to celebrate being such a country and a people who have had wars for, hundreds and hundreds of years, who have been occupied, who have been stomped down, but still are able to celebrate weddings, celebrate freedom, celebrate their just to be able to dance. I think that's important, and I think that the idea behind the name and bringing the culture involved, linked with celebrating and partying and having a good time, is all about freedom and being able to be yourself no matter who you are. It's always, I think, the one thing that especially Lebanese people, but Middle Eastern people, is that they can celebrate being themselves and celebrate being a part of a greater diaspora.
Yeah, I completely agree. Amazing. So how long have you been producing music for?
For a long time. I started, I'm a drummer, and I started playing jazz since I was a child, and I went to the conservatorium in Sydney, and I was just jazz drumming, and then production really just I fell into it. I learned from a wonderful producer in Sydney at the time, and taught me a lot of stuff. And from there, I just learnt and listened and kind of developed my own sound. And I don't do things traditionally as other producers and or other engineers do, but it works for me and it works for us, and we love it. Yeah, it's always interesting watching other people as well produce and be like, oh, it's so strange that you do it this way. And it's really, I mean, they're like, well, you don't do it this way. No, but because I was never actually taught, hey, this is how you do this. This is how you use compression or whatever. It's kind of just like, I'm just going to do this by my ear. And if it feels good, it feels good.
What about from like a career sense or industry sense? Like, you know, have you had trouble getting your music out there or finding traction?
Well, yeah, I guess I'm a very shy person and I hate showing off my art. So there's always this sense of, oh, do I put this music out? Will anybody care? Does it even matter? And I have to always think to myself, I'm the only one that really needs to matter. Tom is the only one that really needs to care about this sort of stuff. And if other people do, wonderful. Do we find it hard? Yeah, it is hard to gain traction from streaming and from the internet and what's happening. There's so much happening and there's so much on the internet at the moment that sometimes you're like, oh, well, will this even get a stream? Will this even get a play? Does it matter? Sure, it does. Yeah. But is it easy? No, definitely not. No, we're in a world that's just oversaturated with so much stuff and so much good stuff as well. So, and I always think of it as it's not a battle. We're not battling other people. We're just in the world that's full of so much good stuff.
What would you like to see change, or what would you like to see as an opportunity for you as an artist trying to present your work and find audiences?
I would love to. That's a really good question. I guess, yeah, a platform that really champions artists. That's I guess, the crux of it all, right? Where every artists are looking for a platform that really champions them, and not put you into the ocean of the bazillion artists that are out there that gets lost. We're looking for a platform or a place that really champions not just the music, but also the artist and their sound, their vibe, what they're all about. I think if there's something out there that does that, awesome. I'm sure there is.
Is there anything that bothers you
in the world about music? Anything?
Anything, sure.
Oh, yeah, lots of things bother me. Traffic. Yeah, heaps. So much. I can't even think. Yeah, a lot bothers me. Traffic mostly. And the fear of, if we're going to link it back to music, the fear of putting music out is terrifying. Terrifying. Showing people your art.
Why?
I think it's fear that we're built up over time that an artist's voice doesn't matter, but it does. It really does. So the fear of your art being labeled, oh, it's just noise. The feeling that the story doesn't need to be told. That's my biggest fear. That's what bothers me. And traffic.
I mean, the question's worth asking. The way technology is moving. Do you have any worries, or do you see opportunities for artists when you're looking at things like AI and how quickly these things are moving?
Yeah, no, this is controversial, but I have no problem with how fast the world is moving and the technologies available. If an artist wants to use AI, I think that's so fine. I think that whatever you can do to create art and tell a story, go for it. I come from a world where it's very much hands-on synthesizers, hands-on drum machines, and I've never been in the world of AI. I'm a little bit older now that I'm writing basically techno, but electronic music that's more traditional and mostly analog. So I'm not in that world. But I think if an artist can use AI and use it in a way that's ethical and use it in a way that doesn't steal from other artists, I think I'm all for it. If they can create something like that, please, yes, go for it. Create art, tell stories, run a rave, host your event, do whatever you want, do whatever you can, tell your story. I think that's awesome. I'm not afraid of technology at all. And I think that the more stuff that's out there, the more amazing artists that are going to come through in the next 10, 15 years, stuff that we can't even comprehend. It's going to be really cool, really interesting, and weird for somebody who's so, traditional. And it's going to be interesting to see that sort of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, we're in your studio, so maybe just tell us a bit about, your space here and maybe some of your tools that you use.
Welcome. A lot of the magic really happens these days, just over here with all this sort of stuff. My synthesizers and keyboards, and yeah, what's happening over here and here. Hardware is hardware, and I've never been a, oh, look how cool I am. I've got all these shiny instruments and knobs and wires going into things. I've always been kind of a bit of a nerd when it comes to that sort of stuff, because I find it so tactile and so almost unresponsive in a way that's responsive. Like the more I pull from something, I want it to, unleash whatever it is that it's creating. So we use a lot of synthesizers in our shows and recording, and and all this sort of stuff. None of that stuff is interesting though, right? I think the final product is the interesting, and the story you're trying to tell is the most interesting thing, not the way that it happened. Everybody says the journey is the most important. Yeah, sure, but it's not the shoes that you wore on the journey, it's the journey itself. And yeah.
Nice analogy. What's it like, like I've seen you perform, so I know you like performing, and it's a big part of what you do. So it's not just recorded music.
Yes.
With that in mind, like maybe talk about what you like about performing and where you would most, or the best environment, or do you have a dream gig?
Yeah. I think for us, our dream gig is just anywhere where people are responsive and responding to the story that we're telling. We love performing because it's so great to be able to take the stuff that we make here and sitting, on our little chairs in our little studio with our little synthesizers, and then going out into a club and going, okay, this is the sound that we made. And then hearing it on a scale that's so huge and massive. It's like, oh, we created this. And so it's so our dream, our favorite place to play is where people are responsive and love being, or, coming along with the story as well.
What's your take on the electronic music scene in Australia at the moment?
That's a great question. I think it's great. I think that I would love to see more live electronic music in Australia. I respect DJs. I love DJs. I DJ myself. I would love to see more live electronic music in Australia. My take is that I want to see people create their sounds on stage if they can. That's my take. That's my hot take. Producers out there, if you can, do it live. I'd love to see that.
Why don't they?
It's hard. It's not easy. Me and Tom, a live show for me and Tom is months of preparation and making sure things are working and making sure things stay in time and stay tuned and are synced all together. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's not like just plugging a guitar in and strumming out chords, and no disrespect to bands, because that's hard as well, lugging stuff around. But a live electronic show is a lot of work, especially the way that we do it. It's mostly all analog. So yeah.
Do audiences appreciate it?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. It's hard. I mean, do people know what we're doing? Probably not. No. Do we know what we're doing? Yeah, and we love it. And if you're along for the ride and you kind of get it, hell yeah, awesome. If they don't, that's okay as well. Just dance, have fun.
Mm-hmm. Brisbane or Berlin? Why Brisbane? Why are you here?
Good question. Brisbane or Berlin? Brisbane. Why am I here? Because the music scene in Australia is incredible and the people are incredible. And I see the next 10 years being a lot of fun for electronic music in Australia. It's growing so much and at a pace that's like, wow, there's so many amazing artists, not just coming out of Australia, going overseas, and a lot of artists coming into Australia, touring and performing. So, yeah, Australia is killing it at the moment.
Where can people find your music, and why do you share it where you do, and what do you think is important about that?
People can find our music on all major and unmajor and indie streaming platforms. And what was the rest of the question?
I'm basically just looking for a Distrosub plug.
Yes,
so you
I'm gonna
can
try and
talk to that.
let me plug it in. People, let's go again. People can find our music on all major platforms, but more importantly, people can find us on Distrosub because it is an indie streamer that looks after artists, and I actually mean that. It is a streaming platform that puts the artist first.
How is Distrosub different from other platforms?
As I said, you're not lost in the pool of all the amazing shit that's online. Yeah, cool, awesome. Distrosub is for artists. You choose who you want to listen to. You don't have to pay a lot of money at all, and you're picking those artists that you truly love and appreciate, and you're giving them, even if it's a minute amount of money, you're giving them something to be like, hey, thank you so much. Where streaming services, major ones, don't do that at all. I'm telling you right now, nobody makes money from streaming services, major streaming services. It just doesn't happen unless you are, that 1% of artists. It just doesn't happen. It's not going to happen. It just isn't. I'm sorry. You're not going to make money from, I'm not going to say their names because I don't want to give them any money, and they're evil, all of them.
What's the most broken thing about electronic artists getting paid right now?
Yeah. Major streaming services, you don't get paid from any of that sort of stuff. You can have 10,000 streams a month and you still make nothing. And that's okay because you can just go to a show and you can go watch the band play there. And that's where you really fall in love with the artists. And then you can go to a Distrosub and actually, I actually want to give my money to this artist because their music is important to me and I've fallen in love from seeing them at this show. And then I can find other bands that are similar.
If someone's never heard a Bcharre song, where do they start? Which track?
Good question. If you've never heard a Bcharre song, go listen to Song for Tata. It's our latest song that we've just released. The reason why I say go listen to that is because it's the song that's most recently released and it's the one that I like the most. I go through this period of really loving our music, and then I've heard it so many times rehearsing or practicing or mastering and mixing. I'm like, God, I don't want to hear this ever again. And then we'll play it live and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I wrote this song. Please go listen to Song for Tata. I think that's where you should start. It's a ode to mothers and grandmothers everywhere. They're the bringers of life, and it's my ode to my grandmother and my mother.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Any last closing comments that you have or you'd like on the record?
Peace in the Middle East. That's it. That's all we ask for.
Peace in the Middle East.
Support live music. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.